Hey, Lance.
Should be over there in a few seconds.
Message from Richard Howard. Lance is here. You coming with us?
Sounds good. Tell him I'll be right over.
Okay, I sent it. Nice job today. You have achieved your daily workout goal.
Hey Siri, remind me at 10 that I have to go meet Richard and Lance over at the convention center.
I've set a reminder to meet Richard and Lance over at the convention center.
Huh? Early 2015? So what the... 6th generation iPod Nano, you're not an Apple Watch.
Wait, Mike, what are you? Ouch, that hurt.
Now don't get me wrong here. I'm really excited for the Apple Watch. Can't wait to have mine. But a lot of people don't know much about it. Well, today that's gonna change. So what's going on YouTube, it's Mike here. Today guys, in this video I wanted to bring together everything that we know so far about Apple's upcoming smartwatch, the Apple Watch. Now I think from what I remember I did a little bit of a recap back in September, a few months ago, almost 3 months ago, when Apple introduced the Apple Watch for the first time. Of course, they said the Apple Watch wouldn't be released until early 2015. That could be anywhere between January all the way to the end of March, and we're really still not sure on a date. Apple hasn't confirmed anything, and we also don't know that much either. No one's had a full chance to be able to take the device home or to an office or something and fully try it out. The only time it was ever demoed was after Apple's event in the same conference room or in the separate room that they built during the September iPhone announcement for the iPhone 6. So no one's really known that much about it or had a chance to really play around with it a lot. We've only seen from the ads what it does. And in the beginning there, when I did that kind of little funny clip with the 6th generation iPod Nano, it kind of gave you a sample of what the Apple Watch will most likely do. That's some of the tasks that it will most likely perform, along with many others. Aside from all that, today I gathered a ton of facts about the Apple Watch that we know so far, and I feel like there's a lot of you out there who don't know what the Apple Watch is capable of, what it's going to feature, what it has to offer, etc. And so today in this video, I figured I'd cover it for you guys. So let's get to the basics. The Apple Watch will work with Apple Pay, which is a mobile payment system that came out in October, which is a service which was introduced at the same event, as a matter of fact, as the Apple Watch, as well as the iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus. And the watch is also capable of receiving phone calls, as well as iMessages and standard SMS texts. The Apple Watch can also track fitness, run third-party apps, and use a feature called Handoff, which is used across all Apple devices with iOS 8 and OS X Yosemite, as long as you own, like I said, another Apple-compatible device. It can also control your Apple TV, as well as act as like a walkie-talkie between Apple Watch users, and can even be a viewfinder for the camera. And alongside that, it has tons of other capabilities. Not yet does it actually run its own native third-party apps, but instead it'll run third-party apps that run through third-party iPhone apps, if that makes any sense. Eventually, when maybe the 2nd generation Apple Watch comes along, there will be native apps, but for now, it's kind of like components and parts of regular iOS apps for iOS devices, of course. Now the watch comes in 3 different collections. If you didn't already know, this is pretty much out there. It's the Watch Sport, which is most likely going to be the cheapest one, the standard Apple Watch, and the Apple Watch Edition, the most expensive of the 3. Now all 3 of these collections feature 2 sizes at 38mm and 42mm high, and it's spread across 34 individual models. And it has a pressure-sensitive touchscreen that can distinguish between a tap and a press, whether hard or soft. And it also features a digital dial known as the Digital Crown, which can be turned to scroll or zoom and press to return back to the Apple Watch home screen. And the watch also has a button for displaying a list of contacts. When we get into the charging part, the watch is charged by means of inductive charging using a cable similar to the MagSafe cable for Apple's MacBook family, kind of like the magnetic chargers. It works basically the same. It's a circular type of charger that goes right on the back of the watch's sensor, and it will magnetically charge it. In this case, Apple even designed a new font for the Apple Watch to help users read text on the small display. It's a little bit easier to comprehend than you'd see with a regular font on an iPhone, for example. Now let's get on to the inside of the device. The Apple Watch uses Apple's new S1 processor, which is, they call, an entire computer architecture on a single chip. And it also uses what they also call a taptic engine to provide haptic feedback when an alert or notification is received. This basically means that it will sort of create a tap on the inside of your wrist, or the inside of the watch. It'll tap the front of your wrist to let you know if you're getting a notification like a phone call, a tweet, a message, or something like that, which is pretty cool. It'll let you know by tapping your wrist. It's like you don't have to like look up or worry about it. The watch is also equipped with a built-in heart rate sensor, which will read your heart rate, of course, which uses both infrared and visible light LEDs and photodiodes. Now, let's talk about compatibility. A lot of people are wondering about this. The Apple Watch is going to work with the iPhone 5 and later, so that includes the iPhone 5C, the iPhone 5S, the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, and so on. Anything earlier will not work, and these devices are going to have to be running iOS 8.2 or later. A couple weeks ago, Apple released iOS 8.2 beta, which featured nothing new for any iOS devices except for the fact that it is now compatible with the new version of Xcode, which is now out for the Watch OS SDK, which basically allows developers to open up their iPhone apps to also develop for the Apple Watch to use as third-party extensions. Like I said, just extensions for now, and not actual native apps with their iPhone apps currently. Now, I want to get into specific specs and also combinations because it is basically an entire mess on Apple's website. I know a lot of people, including myself, are frustrated with trying to figure out which watch models are actually available in which colors, which bands, and aside from that, also the sizes of the displays, both on the 38mm and 42mm size options. So the display on all three models is a flexible Retina display, and the 38mm one comes in at a resolution of 272 by 340 pixels, and on the 42mm one, it's 312 by 390 pixels. And the 38mm one is 1.5 inches on the screen, and the 42mm screen is 1.7 inches. Now, when it turns into the materials for the Apple Watch is used a little bit differently. On the Sport Watch, the back of the watch is composite, and on the regular Apple Watch and the Watch Edition, it's a ceramic back. The screen on the Apple Watch Sport is a strengthened Ion X glass, so it'll be much harder to break since you're going to be using it for sports a lot. You'll want that. And then on the standard Apple Watch as well as the Watch Edition, it is a beautiful, flexible sapphire crystal. So now we'll get into the models, starting with the Apple Watch Sport Edition. There are two cases available, lightweight, which is series in aluminum or in silver or space gray, and it features 5 bands, which are kind of like the polyurethane. It's a different material. These are available in 5 different bands known as the Sport Band in white, black, blue, green, or pink. Moving on to the standard Apple Watch has the most model combinations. These are available in 2 different stainless steel cases, which is either polished steel or space black. Personally, I think the space black looks beautiful. And there are 9 bands available for the standard Apple Watch, and that is first off with the leather. You have the modern buckle, which comes in soft pink, brown, or midnight blue. The leather loop in stone, light brown, or bright blue, and then the classic buckle in black. You can also get the stainless steel bracelet, which comes in a link bracelet or a Milanese loop. And then finally, you can also get the fluoroelastomer plastic, which is the same from the Sport Watch. Again, sorry if I didn't pronounce that right, which is the Sport Band. This one, however, only comes in white or black to keep that classy look for the standard Apple Watch. And finally, on the last one, the Apple Watch Edition, basically this one also has 2 different cases, which has a hardened 18 karat gold, either in yellow gold or rose gold. This is going to be the most expensive one, probably. There are 3 different types of bands available. The first one is leather, which comes in a modern buckle in bright red or rose gray, and there's the classic buckle in midnight blue. And then you can still get that fluoroelastomer, hope I pronounced that right, plastic Sport Band in either white or black. Again, it's limited to those only 2 colors. Now, in terms of prices, the Apple Watch, the standard edition, is probably going to be priced at $349. Everybody's assuming that the Apple Watch Sport Edition is going to be priced a little bit lower, maybe just at $299 or even $249, somewhere in between $249 and $300. And then the Apple Watch Edition, the gold one, the 18 karat gold case one, is supposed to be the most expensive, ranging anywhere from $1,000 all the way up to, it's been rumored, $5,000. Yeah, that's not happening. Sorry, Apple. I just want to rant about this for a second. In all seriousness, who is going to, if it is $5 grand, who the hell is going to drop $5 grand on an Apple Watch that is going to be obsolete? Let's see, if they're introducing it in February, yeah, less than 10 months. Why would you do that? Lastly, I wanted to briefly talk about watchOS and what watchOS is going to be featuring. Now, watchOS is exclusively available to these 3 Apple Watch models. Basically, its capabilities as of right now, from what we understand, is that it'll have numerous clock faces and features such as Siri built in, as well as maps, messages, fitness, and various reminder systems, including clock, calendar, reminders, and notes. So it's basically kind of going to be like a mini version on what's going on your iPhone. Now, don't get me wrong here. This is not going to be like Apple Watch is not going to be a separate type of Apple device for you. The Apple Watch is going to interact entirely with your iPhone. It's almost, like I said, keeping a mini version of your iPhone on your wrist. So that means all the reminders and messages and everything, phone calls, you name it, that you set is really going back to your iPhone, and anything you do from your phone goes over to the watch. So it's almost like, if you want to say, like a mirrored display, and that's it. For example, you can't just make phone calls right off of the watch. You have to have an iPhone ready to do that, and same goes for everything else. And the internet that's on the Apple Watch is it's on like Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, which goes back to your actual phone on LTE or 4G or even Wi-Fi in this case. So it's not its own individual little operating thing. watchOS runs based on iOS 8. So that's, I think a lot of people were getting confused on that. They weren't really sure how the watch was going to operate if it were to operate individually. The answer is no, and I guess that was pretty obvious. You do need that iPhone component to be running everything, and that includes even third-party apps. For example, when Twitter comes out for the Apple Watch, Twitter is not going to be a native app on the Apple Watch. It's going to be an extension off of the iOS 8 Twitter app, and that goes for all apps that develop for the Apple Watch as of now. Apple has said that later in the year of 2015, developers will begin to start developing their own native apps. Maybe that includes games or something that would only be useful on an Apple Watch and wouldn't make as much sense on an iPhone. And I'm pretty excited to see that, because that gives developers much more free space, kind of like a giant sandbox to play around and create some really cool stuff for this smartwatch. So that's basically everything that I wanted to round up in this video. I'm hoping that this gives you some more insights and information about Apple's upcoming smartwatch, of course, the Apple Watch or iWatch, whatever you want to call it. You know, like I said, there's little known about this product right now because no one has been able to get their full hands on it and open it up and play around with it and get to know the device as well as Apple does. So we really don't know a lot besides the information provided. Of course, if you get your research done like I did, thanks Wikipedia, you can really put something together and have a better idea of what to expect at the beginning of early next year for when Apple actually releases this thing. As I said, I'm very excited for it to finally have a wearable from Apple. This is something long overdue, but it's something that they've been working on for years right now. So I think I'm hoping that they're going to hit the nail on the head this one around. And of course, as soon as we get a release date or some more information about it, you can expect full video coverage from me. Of course, when that release happens, you know, all the videos on it. I'm really excited to play around with it and yeah, start living my life in smart wearable technology. Pretty excited for it. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. If you liked it, please leave some comments below on your thoughts. I'd also appreciate if you would smash that like button right here below. Helps me out a lot. Appreciate it. And of course, click that subscribe button below. Go to youtube.com/Mike and go subscribe, whatever you want to do. Check out my other videos. And yeah, so that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.